Welcome back, my fellow Shieldbrothers. It is Shieldbrothers 6 here for the History Armada on this wonderful Friday. Today we'll be having another Folklore Friday as we delve into, this time, an American folklore story. This one was requested in my last video, and this is the tale of the two sisters. This particular folk story might seem very familiar to you. It's quite a common occurring one in English fairy tales, as well as a very similar version by the Brothers Grimm, titled The Old Witch, but we will be reading the American version, The Two Sisters. So this one, as with most folk stories, there is a lesson to be learned. And this one, you can probably pick up on the lesson as we read along, and I will tell you at the end. So this is quite an older story. As I said, it was retold by Flora Annie Steele in 1922, after being published in English fairy tales. And as I said, there was also the version by the Brothers Grimm in The Old Witch. So this story dates back quite a long time, or easily with the Brothers Grimm going a couple hundred years back, their stories being, recorded in the early and mid 1800s. So with that, let's read the tale of the two sisters. Once upon a time, there was two sisters, who were as alike each other as two peas in a pod. But one was good, and the other was bad-tempered. Now their father had no work, so the girls began to think of going to service, meaning going to do odd jobs for the town, as children often do back in the day. "I will go first and see what I can make of it," said the younger sister, ever so cheerful. "Then you, sis, can follow if I have good luck." So she packed up a bundle, took some belongings, some rations, etc., and said goodbye. And she started down to find a place. But no one in the town wanted a girl, and she went farther afield into the country. And as she journeyed, she came upon an oven in which a lot of loaves of bread were baking. Now as she passed, the loaves cried out with one voice, little girl, take us out! Please take us out! We have been baking for 7 years, and no one has come to take us out. Do take us out, or we shall soon be burnt." 7 years, that is a long time. Then, being a kid who was an obliging, young, kind girl, she stopped, put down her bundle, took out the bread, and went on her way, saying, "You will be more comfortable now." After a time, she came to a cow, lowing beside an empty pail, and the cow said to her, little girl, milk me, please milk me. 7 years have I been waiting, but no one has come to milk me." Again, 7 years, such a long time. So the kind girl stopped, put down her bundle, milked the cow into the pail, and went on her way, saying, "Now you will be more comfortable." By and by she came to an apple tree, so laden with fruit that its branches were nigh to breaking, and the apple tree called to her in a sing-song voice, little girl, please shake my branches. That fruit is so heavy I can't stand straight." Thinking once more, 7 years is so long, the kind girl stopped, put down her bundle, and shook the branches of the tree so that the apples fell off. The tree could stand straight. Then she went on her way, saying, "You will be more comfortable now." So she journeyed on again, till she came to a house where an old witch woman lived. Stories had been told of this old woman and her witchery by the townsfolk. Now this witch woman wanted a servant maid, and promised good wages. Therefore the good girl agreed to stop with her, try and see if she was good in her services. She had to sweep the floor, keep the house clean and tidy, and the fire bright and cheery, all the things expected of the time period and of a young girl. But there was one thing that the witch woman said she must never do, and that was look up the chimney. "If you do," said the witch woman, "something will fall down on you, and will come to a bad end." Well, the girl swept and dusted and made up the fire, did quite as she was told, but ne'er a penny of wages did she see. Now the girl wanted to go home, as she did not like the witch service, for the witch used to have boiled babies for supper, and bury the bones under some stones in her garden, quite an atrocious meal. But she did not like to go home penniless after so much work, so she stayed on, sweeping and dusting and doing her work, just as if she was pleased. Then one day, as she was sweeping up the hearth, down tumbled some soot, and without remembering she was forbidden to look up the chimney, the young girl looked up to see where the soot had come from. and lo and behold, a big bag of gold fell plump into her lap. Now the witch happened to be out of one of her witch errands when this happened, so the girl thought it a fine opportunity to, go off home. So she kilted up her petticoats and started to run home full of gold, but she only had gone a little way when she heard the witch woman coming after her on her broomstick. Now the apple tree she had helped to stand straight happened to be quite close, so she ran to it and cried, apple tree, hide me, so the old witch can't find me. For if she does, she'll pick my bones and bury me under the garden stones. Then the apple tree said, of course I will. You helped me to stand straight, and one good turn deserves another. So the apple tree hid her finally in its green branches, and when the witch flew past saying, tree of mine, oh tree of mine, have you seen my naughty little maid? With a willy wag and a great big bag, she's stolen my money, all I had. The apple tree answered, no, mother dear, not for 7 years. So the witch flew on in the wrong way, and the girl got down, thanked the tree politely, and started again. But just as she got to where the cow was standing beside the pail, she heard the witch coming again. So she ran to the cow and cried, cow, please hide me, so that the witch can't find me. If she does, she'll pick my bones and bury me under the garden stones. Certainly I will, answered the cow. Didn't you milk me and make me feel comfortable? Hide yourself behind me, and you'll be quite safe. Well, when the witch flew by and called to the cow, oh cow of mine, have you seen my naughty little maid? With a willy wag and a great big bag, who stole my money and all that I had. So, just as politely, no, mother dear, not for 7 years, answered the cow. Then the old witch went once more in the wrong direction, and the girl started afresh on her way home, but just as she got to where the oven stood, she heard the horrid old witch coming behind her again. So she ran as fast as she could to get to the oven and cried, oh oven, hide me, see as the witch can't find me. For if she does, she'll pick my bones and bury me under the garden stones. Then the oven said, I am afraid there is no room for you, as another batch of bread is baking. But there is the baker, ask him. So she asked the baker, and he said, of course I will. You saved my last batch of being burnt. So run into the bakehouse. You will be quite safe there, and I will settle the witch for you. So she hid in the bakehouse where the kneading was made and where the yeast was rising, only just in time. For there was the old witch calling angrily, oh man of mine, have you seen my naughty little maid? With a willy wag and a great big bag, who stole my money, all I had? The baker then replied, look in the oven, for she may be there. And the witch alighted from her broomstick and peered in the oven, excited to find the little maid. But she could see no one. Creep in and look in the furthest corner, perhaps, said the baker slyly, and the witch crept in. When bang! He shut the door in her face and left her there roasting. And when she came out with the bread, she was all crisp and brown and dead, and had to go home as best she could and put cold cream all over her to revive her witchy self. But the kind, obliging little girl got home safe with her bag of money. Now the ill-tempered older sister was very jealous of her good luck, and determined to go get a bag of gold for herself. So she in her turn packed up a bundle and started to seek service by the same road. But when she came to the oven, and the loaves begged her to take them out because they had been baking for 7 years, and were nigh to burning, she tossed her head and said, a likely story indeed, that I should burn my fingers to save your crusts. No, thank you, said the elder girl. And with that, she went on till she came across the cow standing waiting to be milked beside that pail. And when the cow said, little girl, milk me, please milk me, I've waited 7 years to be milked, she only laughed and cut him off, replying, you may wait another 7 years for all I care, I'm not your dairy maid. And with that, she went on till she was at the apple tree, overabundant by fruit once more. But when it begged her to shake its branches, she only giggled and plucked one ripe apple and said, one is enough for me, you can keep the rest yourself, with a sly wink. And with that she went on munching the apple till she came to the witch woman's house. Now, the witch woman, though she had been crisp and brown and almost dead, she was dreadfully angry with all the little maidservants, and made up her mind that this one should not trick her. So a long time she never went out of the house. Thus the ill-tempered sister never had a chance to look up that chimney, as she had meant to do at once, as she had to dust and clean and brush and sweep ever so hard until she was quite tired out. But one day, when the witch woman went into the garden to bury her bones from the baby meal, she seized the moment, looked up the chimney, and sure enough a big bag of gold fell plump into the older girl's lap. Well, she was off with it in a moment, quite overjoyed, and ran till she came to the apple tree, when she heard the witch woman behind her. So she cried, as her sister had done before, apple tree, hide me, so the old witch woman can't find me. For if she does, she'll break my bones and bury me behind the garden stones." But the apple tree said, "No room here. I've had too many apples." So she had to run on, the witch woman coming ever closer on her broomstick, flying behind, and called, oh tree of mine, have you seen a naughty little maid, with a willy wag and a great big bag, with stolen all the money all I had?" The apple tree replied, "Yes, mother dear, she's gone down there," and pointed with one of its branches. Then the witch woman went after her, caught her, and gave her a thorough good beating with her broomstick, took the bag of money away from her, and sent her home without a penny payment earned for all her dusting, sweeping, brushing, and cleaning. So, as you kind of picked up there, the moral of this story is that one good turn deserves another, and what goes around comes around. The little girl who had been kind and helped, of course, got her just rewards, but the older sister who had been cruel and helped no one, well, in turn, she got no help when running from the witch. And I like this painting here. It's kind of dated, but I like the older style here, with the apple tree and the old witch woman talking to it. So, that was our American folklore story for today, for Folkstory Friday, or Folklore Friday as we're calling it. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned a little something about a good deed, perhaps. But yes, if you have any ideas of what I should read next, and what our next folk song or shanty should be, make sure you leave that comment. If you like this kind of content, go ahead and leave a like. If you don't like it, well, leave a dislike. But I hope to see you guys next time, and until then, I am Shieldbro6 for the History Armada, and I'll catch you all next time.